Now, I'll share my thoughts on will China invade Taiwan. I think that they will not. I'm predicting that they will not, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one is that you have to remember is that Chinese people look at Taiwan as their brothers. Okay, this is not an independent country. This is not somewhere else. They speak the same language. Okay, between the Fujian province, which is the closest province across the strait, to Taiwan, these are brothers. These are families that are separated by, that they travel back and forth. Many people come over from Taiwan. Many people go from China to Taiwan. This is a brotherhood. This is family. So I don't think you're going to see China just all of a sudden go in military and start killing civilians, start bombing, the life in Taiwan. The other thing is that it would fundamentally erase everything that China's government has achieved in the past 50 years. Yeah. That's something that really needs to be said, because in the past 50 years, we have not seen a country rise like China. 50 years ago, China was the biggest country in the world in terms of population, and it was also the poorest. That's not a good fact, right? It's the biggest population and the poorest country. And over the past 50 years, you have to give credit where credit's due. This is not me singing the praises of the Chinese government, nor is it me supporting the Chinese government. I'm very neutral. You can hate China's government or you can love it. That's your opinion. But what you can't argue is the simple facts is that over the past 50 years, China has transformed itself. Okay? 700 million people have been lifted out of poverty. Over the last 30 years, 80% of the world's poverty alleviation has come directly from China. In fact, if you remove China's efforts to poverty alleviation, we would be in a negative state, right? The world would have not actually increased. We would have gotten more poor if it weren't for China. These are the simple facts. And I think when you look at China, is that they have basically sold this idea to the Chinese people that said, look, we are going to be a one-party state. We have this direction. We have this goal that we're going to move towards. And if you go along with that, you're going to experience this economic success, which has been the case for the last 50 years. Again, like I mentioned, there's certainly economic challenges right now, but every mature country goes through that. I'm reminded of my home country, the United States, 2008, massive financial crisis, tremendous amount of turmoil in our markets, retirement accounts, real estate for over 2 years. So every country goes through those, periods where there's, corrections. But I think what is very difficult is that I just think if China were to invade Taiwan, it would really screw that entire thing up. And I just don't think that's a risk that they're willing to take. However, I will preface this is that it really is, the ball is in the United States court. And the reason I say that is that if the United States continues to recognize the one China policy, I don't think that there's going to be an issue. But if you get some Republicans that are very, very anti-China, many Republicans have said, we need to shift away from strategic ambiguity to strategic clarity. We need to call Taiwan an independent country. We need to invite them into the United Nations. We need to recognize them as an independent state. And I don't care what China says. If you have US politicians moving in that direction and then Taiwan signs on to that, then there will be a hot war because China will go to war to defend that country. People need to understand Taiwan is the fundamental, it's the cornerstone of China's foreign policy. It is the single most important thing. When Henry Kissinger went to China, he had an entire list of things to speak with Zhou Enlai, okay, the Chinese premier at the time. Zhou Enlai had one. You want a relationship with us? It starts with Taiwan. That's the fundamental thing. You don't agree to that, the entire deal's off the table. That is our red line. That is our deal breaker. So we agreed to it. We agreed to it, and again, it's been the fundamental principle guiding U.S.-China relations for the past 50 years. So if you see U.S. politicians shift and all of a sudden you say, you know what? Let's imagine Kamala Harris, for example. Hey, day one, I'm the new U.S. president. And guess what? We are now recognizing Taiwan as an independent country, and we're putting them in the United Nations. And there's nothing China can do about that. You see escalation like that from the United States, China 100% will respond. So that's why I say it really is the ball is in the United States court. As long as we figure out a way to maintain this peace in Taiwan, I think that there will be peace.